Welcome to the Big Motor Small Blade Podcast. I'm Buddy Pulley.
I'm Seth Dolby.
I'm Chase Folsom.
Did you forget, Seth?
I've been in one of those fogs today where I kind of forget who I am and where I'm at and what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, yeah. What's up, guys? We are post-Vay. I forgot how to do this. What's up, Seth?
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Chuck, how art thou?
Really tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My boss accidentally called me Chuck today, though, and I was like, that's all right.
Does he know? Does he know the joke?
No, this was like the office manager, my boss's sister. She called me Chuck, and I was like, that's ironic. And she was like, why? And so like I halfway explained the story, but I explained the whole story.
Okay.
Did you halfway explain it or did you fully explain it?
Oh, I halfway explained
Does it matter?
Well, he said he halfway explained it, then he said, I explained it.
I don't know.
Anyway,
you're asking me questions above my brain cell limit right now, okay?
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Of course, Buddy would have to bring up ranch.
Yeah. Before we get into it, shout out Caitlin Clark, because it never was a long shot. Go Iowa, baby. Okay, let's get into the actual show. Shout out to actually Chuck. I just thought about that too. Chuck had his article about the Cars Tour race at Southern National retweeted by none other than newly fired broadcaster from NBC, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Actually, even better, it wasn't even a retweet. Like he copy and pasted the link to Twitter. Like
that's true. Yeah.
That's even better than a retweet. That's not just a little button. You got to hit multiple buttons to do that.
Hey, man, he put more effort into getting that on Twitter than you did the article. Hey, you wrote that article in my apartment.
I did. It took me half an Xfinity race.
Where's my like pinned location credits?
Nowhere.
I don't think that's a thing.
All right. No. What was the article about, though, that Dale Jr. thought so highly of?
The Cars Tour Pro Late Model Series opened their season at Southern National this past weekend. They had 28 cars, which I mentioned in there as part of the format of the recaps that I do for cars is like 3 big takeaways. So one of them was the car count and the fact that they didn't wreck half the field like they normally do when they have 25 plus cars. So that's a major plus. They kept the race clean for the most part. Southern National is still very bottom feeder. I don't know why they paved just the top lane. Has absolutely no effect on the racing.
I was about to say it did nothing.
I think I'm going to talk about that on my Short Track Weekly this week, but that's a later conversation for after this weekend's race. I will say one thing to note is that the limited late model feature that was running before them wrecked every other lap. And instead of letting the feature get pushed back by an hour and a half, they stopped the limited feature, brought them down pit road, ran the main event, and then resumed the limited feature afterwards. So kudos to them for wanting to get it in on time. That kind of comes on the back of them running the late model stock race at 1 a.m. at Ace last year, and Kevin Harvick and Dale Jr. having a meltdown about it. So that'll never happen again. Overall, great race weekend, and I am excited to go back this coming weekend with you guys for the late model stock opener.
Nice. And yes, I know Dale Jr. wasn't fired from NBC. Now, Chuck, I know you write for his series and you're big time Big Boy Pants media member now, but like it's still Dale Jr. like acknowledged a thing you did. Like tell me how that feels, because I mean we we were at the gym, and I mean that's not important to the story, but why leave it out? But we were sitting there, and Chuck goes, "Look." I go, "Okay." He reposted a Car Store article, and you go, "No, I wrote that shit."
Yeah.
So how did that feel?
Well, so actually, I never told you guys why I like immediately knew, because my buddy James that works for Flow Racing, if you watch any Car Store broadcast, James Pike, pit reporter, shout out to him. He sends me a text with just a link to a tweet and then says hello. And I was like, oh God, what is this mess? And I click on it, and the cover picture that we used for the article, they put it live Sunday morning, was a picture that I took at the track on Saturday. So I'm like, I know nobody else got that shot. So as soon as I click on it and I read Dale Jr. and I look down and I see that picture, I went, oh, fuck. That's mine.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's literally what I said. And I was like, I'm not going to lie. Like, obviously, kind of supposed to act like you've been there before, but the first time Dale Earnhardt Jr. posts something you wrote, it's pretty cool. It's kind of hard to act like you've been there.
Yeah, it gives you a half chub for sure.
That is the shout out of all shout outs in stock car racing. There's not a bigger shout out you can get. So
hell yeah.
That was
awesome.
That was awesome. And I mean, the funniest part is that he found it on Reddit. I found out later. I think that's the best part of it. One of my coworkers put it on Reddit. He read it from Reddit and then commented awesome underneath it, and then copy and pasted it and put it on Twitter.
He hit a lot of buttons to do that.
He hit a whole lot of buttons.
Yeah. So speaking of from positive Twitter to negative Twitter, over the week after NASCAR had their fantastic finish at Atlanta, F1 Twitter just was on fire, and like a dumpster fire, not like on fire. The European mind cannot comprehend what just happened the Sunday before this past. So let's talk about that, because there was a bit of a Twitter war between NASCAR and F1.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
I completely forgot to say this because I'm really tired, but on the late model thing, shout out to Kyle Campbell for winning his first race. That's all. Woo Cars Tour next week. Anyway, continue.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that was the build up. Now, what do you guys think of this this little Twitter war we got going on?
Really dumb. It's really, really dumb.
Okay.
Why can't we just enjoy all forms of motorsports without like being at each other's throats because they're not exactly the same, but like better than each other? Like, they don't have to be even remotely close to the same thing for us to enjoy both of them. We don't have to sit here and compare the two because one is one thing and one is a vastly different thing. We can enjoy both and criticize both when they're bad, and we don't have to shit on each other. It's really stupid.
Here's the one thing though, not to imply that F1 fans don't ever start anything with NASCAR fans, but like most of this started because NASCAR Twitter and the memes all kind of immediately went to F1 after this. From what I saw, it looked like as soon as it happened, it was like, oh, let's rip on Max Verstappen winning by 35 seconds or something. So, like,
which
I don't know, just
he did this past week.
Well, yes, he did. But also, like, I don't know, it screams little brother syndrome to me from the NASCAR fandom to immediately be like, oh, I got to shit on something real quick.
Well, here's the thing. F1's acted like a bully the past really 2 years since they've really spiked in popularity here in America. And like, for instance, the greatest spectacle and racing deal they're having with IndyCar. My thing with it is, and this is something I've always told people when asking the number one question I get asked when I tell people I'm a NASCAR fan is they think of another racing series. They go, oh, do you watch that? Which is valid, because it's still 4-tire steering wheel. But I've always said comparing motorsports is like comparing baseball and basketball. for instance. Yes, it's played with the ball, and it's an athletic sport, but it's not the same. It's very different, and different forms of racing are very different. Like, it's different, but you can have a guy like for Michael Jordan, perfect example, who played both, was the GOAT at one, was kind of mediocre at the other, and we see this with different forms of motorsports where you have a guy like Juan Pablo Montoya who was top of his game everywhere else, and then he comes to NASCAR and he does okay, you know? I don't know. I think that encapsulates it, and it just, I'm kind of with you. I don't really know why we got to argue.
I guess, honestly, my view of it is a little bit different than yours, maybe, because I don't really think racing from one to another is really all that different. Like, it might look different, really different, especially if, like, you don't really know anything. But I think guys going between series and stuff is more just down to speciality, like exactly what you're most comfortable with, because anyone's going to be most comfortable in what they're familiar with, what they do all the time. And it's kind of, especially with NASCAR, like a lot of NASCAR guys can go do something and be pretty comparable at it, but they're usually never really like upper echelon of anything else because they're not specialists. Because NASCAR drivers are not specialists by nature, except at high-speed ovals.
Yeah.
But even then, they're a lot more, I guess, diverse than other racers typically.
Yeah, well, try telling F1 that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm biased because, we like NASCAR, but I think F1 fans are some of the most elitist pricks out there, but we don't need to gatekeep. That's not ever good. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's two powerhouses, F1. I think there's a lot of people realizing how the racing product is big suck. And NASCAR has had some bangers to start the year, and now NASCAR has a Netflix show so now it's two big dogs and Indy cars, sitting here, clowns on my left, jokers on my right, and here I am stuck in the middle. So yeah,
I'm starting to think Netflix could get like Americans into like cricket. Like, I just think whatever they're doing over there, they could get Americans.
Danny Hamlin got me into pickleball.
You got into pickleball? What is this?
I've played pickleball. I looked up where pickleball was being played around Raleigh, and I found a couple places.
Funny.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else on that. I just wanted to bring that up. I thought that was an interesting thing that was happening in the Twitter sphere. Speaking of spheres, wow, I'm killing the damn transitions today. We were in Vegas, and on Friday night, Rajah Caruth got his first career truck win. Dude, see that and say what?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
You're the one who texted us that, Seth. Yeah, no. Really cool for Rajah. He's obviously, his stories, it's an interesting one, kind of similar path to William Byron, but a little bit different. He what?
It's similar, but a little bit different.
Yeah, I guess that kind of was dumb.
That's what similar means, buddy.
Yeah, it's
close to the same, but not quite.
Yeah, Rajah Caruth, he studies. He's in like college and shit, and so he probably could have nailed that. I didn't. What do you? I don't know. What do y'all talk about Rajah? Let me get my bearings back straight.
Why are you pointing at me, Chuck?
You go.
I mean, it's cool. Like, Rajah's a cool guy, and it's cool to see him succeed. I don't have anything like profound to say about it. But
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy Brady Robillard for helping build the chassis on that truck.
Hell yeah.
That's what's up. I asked him after the race, I was like, what'd you put on that truck that made it so fast? He said, no, can't tell. That's a secret recipe. But
Spire's cooking.
Like, he's really invested in it now that he's like actually working for a race team. So, but yeah, shout out to Brady and shout out to Raja because that was cool to see. Honestly, the truck race as a whole was actually really good.
Yeah.
After they put on the biggest clown show I've ever seen at Daytona and a freight train at Atlanta, they actually like drove like race car drivers at Las Vegas and put on a good race. And aside from somebody on lap 3, didn't really wreck all that much. So yeah. It was actually a really fun race to watch. And it helped that the two Cup guys, Zane Smith was in the field too, but the two prominent Cup guys that were in the field kept shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the F them kids 200 like we thought it was going to be.
Wow. Way to just take my joke and run with it. Yeah. I put on Twitter as soon as Kyle took the lead, I had it ready to go, or Instagram, wherever I put it. I had it ready to go. I go, welcome to the Fuck Them Kids 200 featuring Kyle Busch. That you guys probably didn't laugh at that as much as you probably would have if I had said that before Chuck did. So thanks, Chuck.
Sorry. Bell was honestly the better of the two. He might have been the best truck if he had ever gotten to the front. They never, every time they get close, they would do something stupid on pit road and go right to the back again.
Yeah.
But
I will say this before we leave the Raja thing. It's something I put out there that I think just should be stated. Raja Crew, he scored his first NASCAR National Series win and became only the third African-American driver to win in NASCAR history. This is something that should be celebrated, but we should also celebrate the fact that a black driver winning wasn't the main story. The main story was Raja Cruz's story, and Raja Cruz's talent, and Raja Cruz's character. It's a story of a racer, not race. No matter skin color, we are all just racers, and we are all just race fans. And Friday night showed that the sport is progressing, and that a black driver winning a NASCAR race is becoming normal. So I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's where we're at with the sport, and I'm really proud of that. And also, Raja beat Kyle Busch, so that's pretty fucking cool, too.
Kyle Busch beat himself really badly, but he was going to beat him anyway. So, yeah. I will ask this question right now. Race 3, way too early. But, I mean, he didn't just back into that win. He went out there and took
Won
it.
the pole. Yeah.
Won the pole, and he fell back to 7th and just drove back to the lead. They had a great stop. He got on pit road and didn't speed like the other 5 guys up front did. Is he a title contender?
Spire trucks are fucking fast, bro.
They're fast.
they got some super shoes over
What's
there.
funny is so are the I guess it's
Tricon.
No, I guess it's the acronym would be MGR trucks. Basically everything that KBM sold is now really fast.
MGR.
What used to be Bill McAnally is now McAnally Hilgerman. Or MHR.
I didn't know they changed the
MHR,
name.
not MGR, MHR.
And don't sleep on Tyler Anchor, man. He's a good little driver.
Yeah, that's one of the new MHR trucks that they bought from KBM.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think they're quick. But
so how much of KBM was sold to Spire? Most of it?
Well, the whole thing was, but trucks were sold off to other people.
Oh, okay.
Okay, actually, I take that back. I think a lot of KBM stuff went to Spire. All the GMS stuff went to McAnally. Because their shops are side by side. The old GMS
that's
shop,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there next to Legacy, and then it was right there in the old Evernham shop.
So let me correct myself. The Chevy teams they got sold off last year are now really fast.
Yeah. Um, who he might have been fast. We didn't get a chance to tell. Old Bailey Curry, man. Was Mike punching some pit boxes?
So that's a story. I will say, first of all, that incident wasn't entirely Bailey's fault, but in the sense of why are you going for that gap on lap 4?
I don't know. That's a question for Bailey Curry and your uncle.
And they're fast. They had passed 10 trucks in 4 laps.
Hey man, I'll see that the rest of the year. I've been waiting to hear this damn Mike Harmon punching a pit box story.
So, Mike Hillman.
So I wish your uncle was Mike Harmon. That'd be awesome.
But as soon as that happened, Buddy texted our group chat and was like, Chase, your uncle's punching drywall right now.
I tweeted it.
And then he tweeted it too, and I was like, hey, he might actually be punching the pit box. And they were like, what? And so I'm going to give you guys each one guess as to what race this was. 2017. It was with Chase Briscoe race.
Martinsville.
It was not Martinsville.
Really? Okay. I don't know.
Martinsville was a bad one. That was
That
was on my little cousin's birthday. They wanted to win that one, but it was not.
Was it Talladega?
It was not Talladega.
Okay.
Dover.
Oh,
right,
wait,
what
didn't
happened
I?
at Dover?
Okay.
They had that race won, and they came down for green flag stops with like 20 to go, and they did not put the left front on.
Wait,
and they went back out there, and the left front fell off the truck, and he got so mad that he punched a hole straight through the pit box and broke his hand.
Hang on. Do we have pictures of this pit box?
We do not have pictures of the pit box, but
bullshit.
His hand was like, it was bad.
Do we have pictures of his hand?
No, we don't have pictures of his hand. I was like 12. But
someone find pictures. There's got to be pictures somewhere.
I'm sure somewhere.
He punched a hole in a fucking pit box. I'm documenting this.
We were all upset because they were going to win the race. And Trey was like, next day, Trey's Mike's son, my cousin. He's like, yeah, bro, he like broke his hand. He punched a hole in the pit box. I was like, punched a hole in the pit box? And he was like, yeah.
That's a lot of force.
That's like, I was like, I believe it. Look at the man. But
I mean, Chase Briscoe's definitely made me want to put my head through a brick wall. Not necessarily my fist through a pit box.
That one wasn't even Chase's fault either. They should have won like 6 races that year, and they won none of them. But yes, Mike Hillman. If Mike Hillman Jr. didn't have bad luck, he would have no luck at all.
Dude, when you said 2017.
Yeah. Huh. Apparently that'd be the same. William Byron thinks the same thing about himself.
We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah.
Yeah. But when you said 2017, I was like, it has to be Martinsville, right?
Dude,
Chase wrecked like what, 5 times in that race?
Martinsville was a really bad one. Wait, which one are we thinking about?
Spring race.
Fall? Okay, spring.
Why are we talking about a 2017 truck race? I just wanted to hear about him punching a hole in the box. I don't give a damn about this damn random ass truck race.
It was that one Chase Elliott won.
Oh God.
Well, that was only because the old Chuck Briscoe took him 3 wide and a 1 and wrecked all 3 of the leaders.
Okay, here we go.
Chuck Briscoe never got. We're not talking about the same race then. Chuck Briscoe was never close to the lead in that race.
Yes, he was.
He was not.
Oh my God. Anyway.
You're thinking of a different one because
NASCAR showed off Joey Logano's glove and the roof rails from Stewart Haas Racing this week. In their newest installment of NASCAR Show and Tell. What were our takeaways? I thought Joey's glove was interesting. Like, it looks more like a duck's foot than I thought it was.
It looks kind of like someone just got done watching a Batman movie and they were like, know how the cape does that? Like, we're going to do that to your glove.
Oh,
I
man.
saw that picture and I was like, oh shoot. Like, I thought it was just had like a little bit of stuff. No, it's like
Yeah.
the whole thing.
I thought it was
He's-
just like the thumb to index finger, and it was the whole.
no,
yeah.
he was out there like a
Flying squirrel, Joey.
squirrel.
I always knew he was a
Flying Joey.
nutsack, but damn.
Yeah, that one.
I made a
All
whole
right.
squirrel joke, and
What?
no one thought that was funny.
What did you say?
I said I always knew he was a nutsack, but damn, he's a flying squirrel.
I didn't hear you say that. That's actually pretty good.
Thank you. I try. And then Stewart House roof rail. I didn't understand them. I also didn't really. I couldn't gather what the objective was with that one.
It's Stuart Haas. There's no telling.
No team cheats as much as they do and goes as slow as they do. Let me tell you. Chuck, you said you were going to make yourself look like an asshole for
I
something
did
you were going
not.
to say
I said
about
I was
this.
not gonna make myself look like an ass.
Well, here, we'll give you like a Santa Claus and you can like revoke it if it's done. But what were you going to say?
Okay. So the source that I have talked to this about tends to skew information. So that's why I got to do my own research. But
Hey, well, hold on. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
from how we were talking about it, it kind of sounds like NASCAR is really stupid and there wasn't actually anything wrong with those roof rails whatsoever, other than something they did to them.
Okay, so what
Why didn't they appeal?
Do you understand? Hold on. Do you understand what NASCAR was saying they did? Because I didn't.
I
If you
had.
do,
That's
can
why
you-
That's why I said I didn't want to say anything about it. Because I haven't watched it yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I couldn't figure out what they
That's
were,
why- Next week we will revisit this because I will have watched it and I will give my opinion on it. Because I think if he explained it to me correctly, I think I understand it. And if it's how he understands it, I don't know why they didn't appeal because it's a crock of shit.
If they didn't
Interesting.
appeal, it tells me that's not true.
And
either
judging by
that or-
Stewart Haas's track record,
Either that or there's something else they don't want him to find, so they're just going to leave it alone.
That's typically how it
okay.
works.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, maybe they were cooking something and they're like, "Where are these roof rails?" And they're like, "Huh? Yeah. What are they?"
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I'm sure y'all didn't listen to it because it's usually kind of painful, but on Dale Jr. Download Reloaded, they had Kip Childress, whatever his fucking name is. They had him on there. They were talking
Wait, they
about
had him on. I would have listened if
Yeah.
I'd known that.
yeah, they had him on. They were talking about cheating, and he was talking about
I gotta listen. To
like
this.
first time he was ever did inspection for the truck series. He looked underneath the truck and found some holes drilled in a spot, like I don't know where. He didn't say exactly where, but you weren't supposed to drill holes in there. And
What year was this? Did he say
like
what year that
95, 96. It was probably Mike Hillman's.
was? Wasn't Mike Hillman.
No.
It was Tom Gomez's truck, though.
Anyway,
That's my grandfather.
your family. My God.
Oh shit!
Anyway.
Y'all some cheating some bitches.
No, they're innovative. Anyway,
Oh, I guarantee
Yeah.
you it was an IWX.
yeah. First thing he said.
And Bill Clinton didn't have sexual relations with that woman.
Anyway,
The racing
Miss
podcast,
Lewinsky.
buddy.
anyway.
That's a story for another day. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, they got back and they said, "How long did it take you to find that?" He said, "Oh, like 20 seconds." They're like, "Well, you need to get back over there because there's something else that they didn't want you to see, and that's why they drilled them holes in there."
Dude, they were talking about when Greg Biffle tried to kill Jeff Purvis at Nazareth that one year. How they towed the car back to the garage And Bobby Hamilton's like, hey, look, you see the light beeping on his traction control? Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. We'll have to have our own version of cheating stories one of these weeks.
No one in NASCAR has ever used traction control.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Sterling Marlin was just that good.
Jeff Gordon was just that good.
Yeah. Anyway, Xfinity race, let me tell you, not a damn thing happened. Chuck made us sit through that to watch John Hunter Nemechek win, so that's annoying. We'll get to the main event of the Xfinity race later on in the podcast. You guys know what that is. Anyway,
They
Cup
both
race.
complained if I had spoiled who the winner was, and the only reason I knew who the winner was is because while they went to get pizza, I heard ESPN go off, and I looked and it said who it was.
Not a single motherfucker asked.
I do not care, buddy.
You know, all right. Let's move on to the Cup race.
Yeah.
Now the only thing I've been able to think ever since the race ended yesterday. Kyle Larson.
He wasn't even that good.
Shut up. He dominated. So that's what I've been thinking about. Okay.
All right. Well, you kicked it off. Let's talk about that. Kyle Larson sweeps Vegas. Sweeps
with the
stage
second
1,
best
stage
car.
2. Yeah, stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. And thank God any of those stages weren't any longer. We would have seen a different car in victory lane.
It's true.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick was by far the better car on the long run, at least.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of over Tyler Reddick complaining about his pit crew though, because the most spots they lost in the race, which was like 10 or 12, was his fault because he, stopped the car in the box against the wall, right?
Yeah.
So like, Tyler does enough fucked up shit on pit road himself. Like he needs
Tyler
to
does a
clean
lot.
his...
Tyler just does a lot of dumb shit to begin with.
Well, like I get it to some extent, but also like clean your house before you go around and start, critiquing everybody else's.
Yeah, I mean it's for sure an ongoing issue with 2311, and I get it, but yeah, that was a little. Yeah, I mean, it was just. Yeah, I mean, you're right though. Like you can't call a spade, or a spade, whatever the saying is.
I mean,
saying?
like that is what the saying is, but I mean, yeah, you could argue he's calling a spade because he's not wrong. But yeah, when you're also just as big a part of the problem, then you also can't vocalize it.
I don't think I know what calling a spade means.
It doesn't sound like it.
Anyway,
it kind of caught me off guard that he did that, honestly. Like, dude, it's race 3. Why are you throwing your pit crew under the bus in race 3?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he definitely had the fastest car, and I think he knew it. Despite Larson leading 100 and however many laps he led. Did Tyler Reddick even lead a lap?
1.
I don't know if he did. He led 1 lap. Pit cycle.
I saw the stat on Twitter. Here, I'll go double check.
You know who else led 1 lap? Derek Kraus.
Actually, I think he led 2. Honest to God, I'm pretty sure he led 2.
Either way, how's it feel? You had the fastest car and you only led 1 lap.
No, I'm talking about Derek Kraus. I think.
No, he only led 1.
No, because when they pitted.
Why are we arguing about how many laps Derek Kraus won?
Whatever. Okay, here's the stat.
It's important. It was the turning point of the race.
Larson had the
Chase Elliott.
Larson had the fastest lap 42 times in the race and led 181 laps. Reddick had the fastest lap 39 times in the race and led 1 lap.
Reddick was also in traffic a whole lot more.
That's the point. He had almost the same amount of fastest laps and led one time.
Yeah. Them Toyotas are quick. All of them were.
They
I mean, they
are.
were all up there.
They were, but also like kind of to get to the comments from Cliff Daniels after the race. I mean, I get what he's saying. Obviously, they need to be trying to get better all the time.
Here, Cliff said that the whole field has gotten closer together. And that's one thing he took from that. Anyway, go ahead.
But
just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. And that's all well and good, and I totally understand his feeling that they need to get better all the time, obviously. But they totally dusted the field other than the 45. Other than the 45, they dusted them. Like, no one else was really that close.
There was one other car that was that close, but they...
Oh, the 24, yeah.
They caught a freaking 55-gallon trash bag and a silver bullet on the hood.
Well, hang on. Before we talk about that, here's I mean, if you're Cliff Daniels, are you really satisfied with not just like curb stomping the field? Like, even like
no.
That one car, I mean, that's all it takes for you to not win is that one car. So I mean, I get it. I get him being, I wouldn't say worried, but being on alert.
I do think it's concerning. If I'm them, though, my concern is more the fact that if I'm Cliff Daniels, my concern is that we essentially showed up with the exact same look we had in the fall. Like, it's not all bad. They came away with 2 wins out of it.
It's the exact same look that Kyle Larson has had for most of his career, minus 2021. Well, next gen Kyle Larson, really.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Kyle's admitted that, I guess, being the leader presents yourself with more opportunity to wear your tires out in the lead, I think is what he's saying. And he kind of overdrives it.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to acknowledge a problem. It's another to continually ignore it. I don't know if they're ignoring it or just they decided that it doesn't make sense to back it up when you are the faster car. I don't know. Obviously we'd have to sit in on like a competition meeting at Hendrick to really understand what the deal is, but it seems like they lack
arranged for next week.
Hopefully. Chuck, you know Dale Jr. now, so you can get that done for me. But it seems like they have not really worked on being a long run car in the next gen era, like at all.
No.
Hold on, I can think of another Hendrick car that was never a long run car. Wasn't it Jeff Gordon?
Jeff Gordon was only a long run car.
Oh, he only wrong. Okay, all right, never mind. Okay.
I can only think of one next gen Kyle Larson race on intermediate track that they actually had a good long run car.
Homestead 2022.
Yeah.
Because even Homestead last year, they got the doors blown off on the long runs. That's how Blaney got around him in the first place.
But we're playing a short run game nowadays, dude. I mean, you don't see too many of these races that go long. So I mean,
did you watch any races last year?
Yeah, I did, but like I could see where they're coming from because we do typically get a lot of late cautions, i.e. your tweet this right before the weekend started. I thought
it was about to come true.
yeah, we did too. So I mean, I get where they're coming from, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like he understands the direction they need to go. But I love that we're talking about Larson all doom and gloom and what they're doing wrong, and he won the damn race, both stages, max points day. And it looked like he was back in 2021 form, but there's more to the story.
I'm disappointed in both of them. Reddick and Larson.
4.
Sarcastically, but you had the 2 biggest choke artists in NASCAR Cup Series competition, and they didn't wreck each other and make it exciting for the fans. How dare they?
Well, I mean, they basically ended the race like the Southern 500 last year. They ran hard and just kind of Kyle arrow blocked a bit.
Yeah, can
Yeah.
we like talk about that before we talk about the rest of the race, actually?
Yeah.
Because like I think it's garbage, honestly. It sucks. Like
Wait, hang
it's
on.
so
Hang on. Seth, what do we need to do?
We need to put more fucking horsepower in the car. That's what we need to do. It isn't that fucking hard.
Okay. Chuck,
And I
continue.
said this during the race yesterday.
Hang on. Chuck was
Yes.
talking. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
No, he's fine. He can go and you go and then we'll come back to me.
Okay. This package sucks. And I'm tired of not being able to say it doesn't. Like, it's the best thing we have in next gen, other than like Atlanta, I guess, now. But God, this sucks. Like, I'm so sick of watching these guys crack the throttle for like a tenth of a second in the middle of the corner and all just drive the same speed. Like, and at the end, just the leader just arrow blocks the shit out of second place. And that's the whole battle. Like, we literally, so in the middle or in the first stage or second stage, whatever it was, when Kyle Busch took 2 tires, Kyle Larson was trying to get around him. He was about a tenth or 2 back for like 5 to 6 laps. TV was so disinterested in that they cut away to show like the battle for 12th and then cut back like, oh yeah, he got to the outside now. So the more, not the more I hear it, but back to the old closer is automatically better. Clearly not, because even TV got disinterested with the battle for the lead there because it wasn't interesting. It was close, but it wasn't good racing. Okay.
I think we've all, maybe not us three, but the sport as a whole, and more specifically the fan base than the people actually involved in the sport, have gotten very complacent and just accepted the fact that like this is what good racing is now, and we shouldn't. Because yes, it is the best, like you said, it is the best thing that we have with the next gen car. Fucking smack 200 more horsepower in those cars, and imagine how awesome the end of that race would have been. Like it's I don't want to beat a dead horse because you've already said it, but it's really not that fucking hard. Like
Dave Wilson's already gotten behind it.
I'm so sick
head of
of
TRD.
Do what? Oh yeah. I'm just so sick of watching the end of these races, and you think something exciting is going to happen and we might get a great finish, and it's like, oh nope, the guy basically runs the line that he shouldn't be running to let the other guy get close enough to him so that he can arrow block the shit out of him, and then the gap's there again, because all he has to do is let him get close enough to where I feel like that's honestly probably why Larson didn't start running the top until he did, because he has to wait until Reddick's close enough to where he can't just react to where Larson goes. Then as soon as he's right there, all he has to do is block him and it's over. And does he actually have to try and make the corner in a proper way? No, because at that point he drives up the track, he backs up the corner, but him backing up the corner just fucks up the 45 more, and there's no battle to it. It's like, I feel like it's
all Kyle is doing. Hang on, real quick.
I'm looking for. You go ahead.
All Kyle is doing in that instance before Reddick gets close enough where he can ruin his momentum is just making sure he doesn't get that run on the straightaway. That's all he's doing. And then once he gets close enough, then he just ruins his momentum. It's like,
word I'm
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The word I'm looking for is, it's kind of like, I don't want to say embarrassment, but it devalues the racecraft that these guys have, because they don't really have to show that much of it. In a way, there's not much racecraft in just blowing the corner to go cut up in front of a guy and him losing the whole nose of his car. Is it mind games? Yes. Is it strategy? Is like a game, it's a chess match, you want to call it that? Sure, absolutely. But is it actual racecraft of driving the hell out of the car? No. And that's what I want to see. Buddy, you seem like you have a take on this, so I'm going to let you go.
I don't really necessarily have a different take than what you guys have. I mean, this is definitely what I feel like they wanted the 550 package to be, and they didn't achieve it, and now they kind of have. And now, if you don't look too much into it, and if you're not a racing connoisseur, as I'm gonna proclaim that we are, you are gonna look at this and think that it was something more than it was. And yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. The newness of the next gen cars worn off, and it's really, yeah, it's kind of annoying to watch, because I watching that race with y'all yesterday, Seth the Larson fan, getting excited and is on the edge of his seat, but 2 to go. As soon as Larson made the block on him, it was pretty much game over, and that was very lackluster, because it takes so long to regenerate a run that you knew with 2 to go, even though Reddick's right there, he's not going to be able to make a run at Larson. So yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. It's a little bit disappointing, something we got to work on. We got, I think, bigger fish to fry, but I don't think it's going unnoticed in the amongst the people in the sport, or at least the drivers, and yeah.
Well, let's
you go, Seth. Now.
Okay. And let's look at it too. 2 years ago, when we did this race, we didn't feel this way, obviously. So why didn't we feel this way? Well, the teams hadn't nailed down the setups yet.
Yeah.
So there was a lot more. I remember distinctly on Martin Truex's onboard, there was a lot of throttle play at the end of that race, before the caution came out and the whole Bowman Larson end of the race. But coming down to it, there was a lot of throttle play. If we right now went up to 850, 900 horsepower, that would change it immediately, because no one would have the setup dialed in for this. Now, it wouldn't be quite the same, because we do have 2 years under next gen, and it's largely the same, but it would still be pretty much an immediate shakeup. And that's part of the problem we have right now. And it's the same problem we had toward the end of the Gen 6 era, before we started cutting horsepower way down and whatever. It's when we first went to small blade, it wasn't that bad, because no one had it dialed in at all.
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't say it wasn't that bad. I would say it was actually really good. 2016 was great. And we left it basically the same for 2 years, and everyone dialed it in, and it got really stale, and you could just, manipulate the air. And that's essentially what we've done right now. And I'm concerned that NASCAR is going to think that we need to go the other way with it, because I think this because it's NASCAR, and that's what they like to show all the time. And overall, if we added horsepower everywhere, it would be a immediate step up. But I don't want them to think that we only need it at short tracks and road courses, which is why I keep harping on it.
Yeah.
Chuck.
I'll wrap this up and say, kind of piggybacking off of both your points, Seth, I think another factor in why we enjoyed this style of racing 2 years ago when this car first came out is because it was fresh, but it was also significantly better than what we had the previous year.
Yeah.
So instead of looking at what was bad about it, we were like, thank God we don't have the 550 package Gen 6 cars out there anymore. And now, 2 years later, it's like, okay, this could be a lot better. And when, Buddy, you say there's bigger fish to fry, there is obviously short tracks and road courses is, I mean, on the top of my list. I don't know what's at the top of your list. And they all kind of have the same fix and can be fixed in a very short time span together.
Yeah, it's true.
But
yeah, I have one more thing, and that's just that we have too many smart people working on these teams to let them dial in and and become not necessarily complacent, but we can't let them get the setup, essentially.
Yeah,
because this is what's going to happen.
Now, hang on real quick. I'm going to hurt myself patting myself on the back real quick. I said this 2 years ago during our Southern 500 podcast. I said everything that was 550 a year ago is way better this year, but it's not great, but it's way better than it was. And everything that wasn't is worse. So I've been very consistent on this. I would like to say thank you to myself in the past for being on the ball immediately. And I'm going to stop before I actually hurt myself.
I'll get you some icy hot for the
thank you
upper part of your shoulder. Yeah. To a different point about a Larson. Owen Larson runs out onto the racetrack to greet his dad on the start finish line. A nice touching family moment. And then he runs and gets the checkered flag, and then proceeds to pull on the rear spoiler while Kyle's getting interviewed on the front stretch.
Chad trained him well.
After he had jumped on the roof of the car, and then after all of this, Kyle puts him in the car, makes the Hendrick car his clown car, with him and Aubrey, and proceeds to start pushing out the window in a manner that it's not supposed to go. And Kyle, takes it out and they go on their merry way to victory lane. But can we stop bringing your kids out there, or at least putting them in the car, because that's not cool. Kevin did start it, yeah. Yeah. But y'all remember when Trevor Bayne won the Daytona 500 and they had 750 people around the car, and there was that one official watch the spoiler. That was me the other day watching this race. We can't have especially kids out here tugging on the spoiler and jumping on the car.
Now, okay, so in Owen's
that bitch gotta go through tech. I mean,
I was screaming too, but in Owen's defense, I think what he was concerned about was the car was kind of rolling down the hill a little bit, inching down the hill. From what I remember, I think he tugged on Kyle's.
Typical Larson sympathizer.
I mean, look, no, I was screaming at the TV with you. I was like, Owen, stop. You're going to make it fail tech. But,
kids thinking they have superpowers. This car is rolling. Let me stop it.
Yeah. I mean, that does sound like the thought you'd have as a 9-year-old, right?
Absolutely.
I can make a difference here.
I got it.
What made me mad about it is if NASCAR wants to say after seeing that, okay, maybe don't put them in the car, and if they're going to be out there, don't let them pull on whatever. If they want to, in reaction to this, make a rule, fine. But there was a select group of people on Twitter that were, actually making up,
conspiracy theories?
Crazy-ass conspiracy theories about this, as if he was, Owen Larson was paid off to do this. And I'm like, dog, he is 9. When I was 9 years old, my brain, there was nothing up there when I was 9 years old. It was
there ain't anything up there now.
The typical 9-year-old does not function that way, dude. He is most 9-year-olds, they just hang off stuff because they can. They're just out there living life. He's not thinking, oh, this is going to alter the freaking NASCAR history books forever because I'm going to make sure this race car is legal for my dad to pass a really high-tech inspection. No, he's 9 years old. Quit making conspiracy theories about this. Stop. It's
Well, I
dumb.
mean, you don't have to explain the why behind it. You can just be like, hey, Owen, I'll take you to Target and buy a big old toy if you should go out there and tug on the spoiler a little bit. And he'll be like, oh, okay.
True,
He'll be like, oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Papa Rick. Like,
I guess that's true. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, I was like, dog, he is 9. Relax on some of this stuff.
yeah, no, that's ridiculous. But yeah, I think hey, maybe we should chill on the whole kid thing. It's kind of been overdone. You know, this would all like probably stop if we stopped doing like front stretch interviews. And not like Chuck front stretch interviews, like front straightaway victory.
You
interviews.
want me to stop doing interviews, buddy?
No,
How
Chuck.
dare you?
No, I mean, yeah, probably. The world probably does. Anyway,
this is Chuck Forsum with FrontStretch.com. Hey, Eric Jones. 1 minute later.
If anybody doesn't know what that is, that's my interview with Eric Jones at the Charlotte Roval last fall. Don't watch it.
Go watch it. It's pretty funny.
Oh,
back to the race. So are we what was Bubba Wallace, what he did pushing Tyler Reddick? Is that like classified as like race manipulation? I know that word's been kind of thrown around a lot in the past couple of years because of certain events like the Chase Elliott. I mean, yeah, let's compare it to that. The Chase Elliott Kyle Larson thing at Bristol when he was mad at Harvick. Like, is this sort of in the same vein as that?
I don't think it's as bad as that. But ultimately, if those were legal, then this is.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think it was illegal. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I'll put it didn't leave that bad of a taste in my mouth, but if that would have been the way Reddick ended up winning the damn race, I would have been like, all right, that's a little shiesty.
I said these because I'm also, every time we bring up Chase Elliott at Bristol, I always think of Joey Logano at Atlanta earlier that year. So that's where my brain is. But I don't know. It didn't seem to help that much.
What? Yeah, did he ran down for like 2.5 seconds back?
He'd been doing that anyway.
It worked better when Bubba was running the top and Reddick was running the middle, and then they switched, and then it stopped working as well. I'll say that. Because Reddick was just running the bottom and taking the short way around, and then Bubba would just bam off the corner, and they were gaining a ton of time. And then Tyler wanted to run the top, so Tyler started running the top, and Bubba was like, well, I can't help you if you're running the top. So he ran a lane down, and like he was still like behind him, but he wasn't pushing him. So it wasn't working as well. I'll throw in Ross did the same thing for Kurt at Atlanta also in 2021. What gets me is that there has been one that was called illegal. And it makes the least sense out of all of them. And it was Cole Custer at the Roval in 2022. Bro just like actually tried to make the corner and nobody else around him did, and they fined him. And all of the rest of them have actually been, I'm not going to say they should be penalties, but it was a race-altering event. I'm not saying it's like race manipulation, but it was race-altering. And the one that was like just a dude trying to make the corner while everybody else barreled in like a bunch of idiots actually got penalized. That one still baffles me.
I don't know. Didn't they say on the radio to like let him through?
They did, but he didn't actually like mean to. Like all he did was like break where he had for the past 60 laps, and everybody else just tried.
Didn't he smoke him into that corner?
Oh my God! Why are we doing this?
No, Chase.
Let's get back to the test.
Barrel rolled through like 5 people.
Let's get back to the race at hand.
Well, no, I think it's fair to talk about other instances of possible race manipulation if we're going to talk about this one.
It is, but we don't need to argue about what happened in this one.
Either way, the point is, why was that one a penalty and the rest of them?
There we go.
I'm not saying the rest of them should have been. That one shouldn't have been. I don't have a problem with what they did.
NASCAR takes anything that happens in the playoffs more seriously. And I understand the Chase Elliott one was, but it wasn't playoff altering, I guess, is the difference there. I don't know. And also, they're not going to penalize Chase Elliott unless he does something so blatant like right hooking someone at Charlotte.
Yeah. I don't think this is like I don't think it's a nothing burger, but I don't think it's anything that we need to take too seriously. Obviously I have PTSD of a lap car helping their teammate. So I thought it was an interesting maneuver from 2311. I'd be interested to see if this like has kind of opened Pandora's box and like we see this more often if a teammate is having an unfortunate day and he's in position to do this again. I think this is ultimately harmless, but I think it could end up being something later in the year if the opportunity arises.
Here's the one thing for me. I was kind of fine with it until Bubba pitted and then waited on him and did it again. That was kind of the part to me was like, that's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm wearing the 5 hat, so. But like I said, I was kind of fine with it beforehand. Like they caught him naturally, and then he just said, "Okay, I'm just gonna push him." And then after that, it was kind of suspect. I don't know.
Yeah, suspect's a good word for it. Let's talk about William Byron. No, everyone, you guys all know I don't like William Byron. I have white trash bags in my house and I drink Busch Light, so it was not me. I did not throw the black trash bag with the empty can of Coors Light at William Byron's car. I promise.
Here's the dumbest thing. Before I swear, before the caution in between that happening, or the one right before that happened, I swear I saw that trash bag.
You did
on the I pointed it out
because I was like, well, there's a piece of debris, and then right after that, it flew up again, and you were like, I don't even think you guys heard me, but I was like, there's a piece of debris, and you didn't say anything, and then like 5 seconds later, it flew up again. And you were like, oh my god, look at that.
Yeah, so this thing was on the track for a minute, and it just, I'm pretty sure
it wasn't in the wall.
Maybe.
I
thought I saw it too.
When I first,
I think it was out, and it ended up on the wall or something. Because I feel like at one point it was either in the wall or like maybe on the fence, but still they should have gotten it if it was on the fence. That's
either way they should have seen this, and there's really no reason it should have been on the track at that moment when Byron ran it over. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying realistically it shouldn't have been there. So if I'm the 24 team, I would be upset about this, but also we backed into like 6 wins in the past year, so it's fine.
I can't believe his luck, man. It's terrible.
I couldn't believe he said that shit. Like, I know drivers feel like the world. I know drivers feel like the world's against them all the time, but like, dude, have a little bit of like, what word am I looking for here?
Self-awareness.
Yeah, there we go. Have a little bit of self-awareness.
Read the room, buddy.
Yeah,
your buddy, William.
Yeah.
No, I was calling William buddy, and then I realized that you're buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, heck, he wants to talk about having bad luck. He said it was at 350. Those things normally blow up at 300, and he still finished 10th.
How did it get that high? And it was only on there for like a lap and a half or 2, wasn't it?
Dude, that was the biggest piece of debris I've ever seen in my life. They had a beer can in the radiator. That's like special circumstances.
So I'm really wondering where this thing came from.
Hey, clearly the mountains weren't blue on that Coors Light, or we wouldn't have gotten a 350.
Well, we had a whole ass trash bag with a single beer can in it. Like, what? Where did this come from?
The beer can is the weight that they used to throw it over the fence is what happened.
Somebody wasn't
guarantee-
partying hard enough. That's what I'm getting at.
No, I guarantee you they were like, I bet this would be funny if we throw a trash bag out there. And they're like, well, how do we get it over there? You got to have weight in it. We can spare a beer. Let's throw a beer in there. And they threw the beer in there.
So wait, was it a full beer?
Huh?
Was it a full beer?
I guarantee you it was when they first threw it over. And then through the process of it flying up and down and hitting the track and then getting hit by race cars, it probably wasn't a full beer by the time they ripped it out of the front of the 24 car.
I would imagine, yes.
It's probably how they got it over the fence. Is they put weight in the bag with the one beer and chucked it over the fence. That's my
sounds like Chuck has some experience with this.
I don't. Not at a racetrack.
Well, here's the thing. I'm thinking the wind gusts were like
With
150 miles an hour.
Throw them at each other as kids. We put them in whatever. It's just clarifying.
Oh,
What
butter in
sort
the
of-
sock trick.
What sort of hick childhood did you have? Anyway, I know
You
the
want
answer
me
to
to
that
answer
question.
that
I know the answer to that question, but here's my conspiracy theory on it. Wind gusts were like 137,000 miles an hour. I'm sure a trash bag just kind of like flew out from the campgrounds, and NASCAR was just like, doing their typical officiating, not watching the race.
Rack's clear, tire.
Yeah, and just they just made a Chucky Wucky and didn't grab it. Again, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying this is what happened, and it shouldn't have happened. I can't complain about NASCAR officiating as much as I do, and not complain about this, even though I thought the outcome was funny.
There's a lot of manipulating going on around here. I'm gonna put on my male manipulators for this.
What I think is ironic is that the whole incident ends up circling back to showing, dude, what the hell is going on with half of Hendrick Motorsports? Because one of their cars was taped off solid and almost blew up because of a beer can trash bag and still outran the other two.
Well, I'll go ahead and say this. The 9 team should not be super concerned because Chase Elliott has, I don't believe, ever had a good run at Las Vegas.
No.
He's had one. He's had one.
Only time,
the fall of 2021.
Yeah.
But other than that, never. What, buddy?
Only time I can remember him having a good run at Las Vegas, he ended up on the front end of Kurt Busch's car. Or
he finished second at Denny in the fall of 21.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyway,
I mean, I don't know. I just kind of think it's worth talking about because
I mean, it is, and I do understand the concern from the 9 team and the Dawsonville pool room, whatever, because obviously they haven't been where they've wanted to be in over a year. So I get it, but also this is not the race to be like, yep, the season's in the tank already. Like, it's Vegas. That team isn't very good here. Now, the 48 team, I would be a little more concerned because they kind of look like they did last year.
Yeah.
And that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because he was fast there the past 2 years.
You know what I do think they should do? Honestly, I think they should swap crew chiefs over there between the 9 and the 48. Because
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, because Blake Harris he holds the driver very accountable when they don't do things right. And I feel like that's been a problem with the 9 team historically, is there's not enough accountability there. So I think that'd be good for Chase. And B, I think Alan Gustafson just needs a change of scenery right now.
Yeah.
We've seen this in the past where Alan will be good with one guy for a while, and then it tapers off. So I feel like Alan kind of just needs a change of scenery, and I think it'd be good for Chase and Alex.
Who was Alan with before Jeff?
Mark Martin.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
That one started well and tapered off. And then before that, he was with Kyle Busch, and that started well and kind of tapered off. Of course, Kyle Busch was kind of a hothead, obviously, but
yeah,
I don't know. I just that would be my suggestion. Obviously, don't change anything with the 5 and the 24. They're firing on all cylinders. But yeah, that would be my
I think
idea.
we should switch the 41 and the 24's crew chief.
How are you gonna
No,
facilitate
let's
that?
not. Why?
Oh, it took me too
No,
long.
the 5 and the 24 definitely have their like dream
You don't
driver.
get what he's saying.
No, I 100% get what he's saying because I know who the crew chief is on the 41 car.
Yeah, he needs to be
Chad
gone.
Johnston for anybody.
Yes,
who's
I know.
wondering.
Why does anyone still hire that guy?
I wasn't telling you, Chuck. I was telling the listeners.
Oh,
yeah,
my bad, buddy.
All right. Anyway, should we get to the only good part about the show? The only reason we have what?
Can I say one more
Chuck?
thing about
Jesus
the Cup
Christ! What?
race? I just thought it was funny. Did you guys hear what Ross said about Blaney after the race?
yes,
No.
yes.
Oh, buddy. So it was Bob was interviewing Ross, and he was like, "Yeah, did you guys see Blaney out there air blocking me at the end of the race? He's actually evolving after Phoenix last year. I'm proud of him." That was funny.
I didn't hear what you said. You said Bob was interviewing Ross, and I thought about Bob Ross.
No.
I thought about if you shaved Ross Chastain's face and put Bob's hair on Ross, it kind of looked like Bob Ross.
Ross Chastain has a few little happy accidents, so
Ross
it works
Chastain said to Bob Pockris, he was like, "Did you guys see Blaney out there air blocking at the end of the race? Especially after Phoenix last year, he's evolving. I'm proud of him." And then Blaney quote tweeted it with the ironic thing. I think it's funny that they don't like each other now because, like, who picked Ross Chastain and Ryan Blaney to not like each other?
Ross doesn't give a shit, and Ryan Blaney gives too much of a shit. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Well, yeah, because it was also earlier in the race when he was telling Ross to stop driving like a
dickhead. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, anyway, let's get the only good part about this show. Since we've talked about this Cup race and 7 other Cup races, let's talk
and 3 truck races.
Yeah, let's talk about the Xfinity race.
By the way, Derek Kraus led 2 laps. Just thought I'd throw that out.
All right, now it's time for the rundown from Down Under.
Who the fuck gives a shit about goddamn Derek Kraus?
We do. Details matter, buddy.
Details matter, and I was right.
All right, anyway. Shane Van Gisbergen had a very quick weekend this weekend.
Well, it started out with a little bit of a fucky-wucky. So he failed tech twice. Talk about limited track time he got in Vegas. He not only blew up on lap 20, but he also didn't get nearly as much practice as everybody else because he failed tech twice prior to qualifying. And so I have a friend, Jeremy, that works at College Racing, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, what was the deal with the 97 there?" He goes, "No clue. As long as it wasn't a part I put on the car, I'm good with it." But then he proceeded to say that it's super easy. Just to give an example and just to kind of give an idea of what may have been happening with the 97, since we didn't exactly get a exact reasoning. He said it's super easy to be an inspection up until qualifying or even practice time. It doesn't take a lot at all. If you fail once, puts you behind, got to fix your issues, and then you sit there until NASCAR calls you back into inspection where you're going through. And sometimes it even can be NASCAR has issues with their equipment. And he said it's just these multitude of different things. So if anybody was watching that and wondering and kind of, wondering what was going on, there's a general idea, since they didn't give you a synopsis of what exactly happened to the car, just to give you we'll learn you a little something on inspection. But yeah, like you said, it was a very abbreviated weekend for old Shane Van Gisbergen. Yeah, 20 laps and he blew up. He was doing good. He was moving up. Qualifying like dog shit, but he was moving up.
He was in like what 24th or something when he blew up.
In the 32 laps he ran this weekend, he improved in all of them. On the Fajones, I guess.
I guess we'll call it a success. I guess.
Yeah,
not really.
I
but
don't
mission
really.
failed successfully.
Yeah. There we go. Actually,
he improved.
That's
perfect. So that's a success in my eyes.
Yeah. So his first real oval didn't go as planned. So we'll try again next week. That's really all we got on the rundown from Down Under this week.
Abbreviated. Hopefully, he runs the full race this coming week.
Well, exactly. Hopefully for a little bit more of a rundown. To the accolades. Sundress and Dumbass. Sundress.
All right, I guess I'll go. I went with Noah Gregson. Ran really well, and I took Chuck. Sorry, because Chuck and I apparently only share the one brain cell, and that's how we come up with the same everything all the time. But yeah, Noah ran great. Finished 6th? Yep. And yeah, I pretty much knew that Noah had this in him, so glad to see it. Glad to see it manifest.
Chuck.
I guess Sundress, Ty Gibbs for finishing 5th without first gear.
Interesting. All right. One thing about Noah Gregson too is he earned back all the points he lost in that penalty, and he had to come from the back in qualifying because he couldn't go as hard as he wanted in qualifying, or else he was gonna wreck the car, and they couldn't afford it because the teammate already did. So,
is that actually what happened?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. My Sundress, some honorable mentions. Carson Hocevar, he had a great run. Shouldn't be surprised, but first non-super speedway in a Spire car, and he did good. Daniel Hemrick, you're probably wondering why. He has finished top 20 in every race this year. And you know what? We're only 3 races in, and we've only had 2 super speedways. But that's better than what Colleague's been doing. So I'm gonna give my boy some credit. But my ultimate Sundress is Rajah Caruth, for obvious reasons.
All right, dumbass. You mentioned Carson Hocevar, the guy who got passed by Carson Hocevar. I say the guy, the most notable guy that got passed by Carson Hocevar, his teammate. Corey LaJoie.
Damn it.
Dude, Chuck, that's why I have 3 of each one of these, so we could be ready. I could be ready. Have you not learned anything from this podcast, Chuck?
No. I'm done going after you every week.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, you get to go first next week.
Yay.
Hold me to it. Anyway, so yes, Corey LaJoie, it may very well be. I mean, Ryan Blaney's trying to get up there, but he may be the whiniest driver in NASCAR currently. And I kind of figured this was going to happen because honestly, he's not as good as Carson Hocevar or probably Zane Smith. I don't know yet, but yeah, he's going to get dusted by his teammates, and he's just going to have to get used to it and stop crying about it every single week. Anyway,
I concur.
Chuck, you can concur too if you'd like, if you don't have another one.
Me, for not ever having a fucking backup pick when Seth inevitably takes who I'm going to pick.
Yeah, I mean, we say this every week, guys. We say to Chuck every week, hey, man, you got your Sundress, you got some backups. And he...
No, nobody's ever asked me if I have backups because you guys both know damn well that I don't pick who they are until you say, all right, guys, Sundress and Dumbass. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to pick these 2. And then Seth's like, these 2. And I'm like, shit. and
so you don't prepare.
Chuck
not at all.
Chuck just gave us a play-by-play of like the last 5 minutes. Anyway, my dumbass is gonna go with the 2311 pit crew for in their 4th season of existence, still suck. Doesn't matter the roster. Doesn't matter who's paying the bills on them. Doesn't matter where they're at. They still suck. So we once called this dumbass award the 2311 Pit Crew Award. I think we may need to get back to that.
Possibly, yes.
Yes. Was this race bitchin'?
Not particularly.
Yeah. Not particularly. Okay. Chuck.
No.
Just straight up no.
No.
Okay. I think it was an acceptable race. I'll put it like that. I didn't expect it to be a barn burner. Last year's Vegas race wasn't a barn burner. I thought there were some compelling elements, but it's acceptable. We'll come up with an actual scale of this bitchin' scale one of these days. But
I would like to say compelling and a good race are not necessarily the same thing. And I know you and I have disagreed on these terms.
Yeah,
before.
That's a matter of opinion. So stay on your side of the fucking screen, dickhead.
I will say that this race may have not been bad if you were there. Like, to watch the end and see the fact that the 5 and the 45 were that close to each other for the win, even if we all knew it was going to happen, the air blocking thing. I mean, if you were there watching it live rather than watching it from a TV screen, it might have been fun to watch. But I don't think it was a good race.
Fair. Picks.
Chuck, you go.
No. Who did I pick? Oh, I know. I'll pick the guy that I meant to pick last week, Alex Bowman.
That's a terrible pick.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and say this. I won.
You won?
Wait.
Yeah.
Then why did I just go first? You're supposed to go first.
Yeah, but you've been crying. You've been crying the whole time that I keep picking whoever you want, so I let you go first.
I was joking. I don't care. I think it's funny. Neither one of you were taking Alex Bowman, though, so I'll keep it.
No, I was definitely not taking Alex Bowman.
Hell no, I wasn't taking Alex Bowman.
I'm going to take Josh Berry.
That's stupid because Phoenix is like his worst goddamn track.
Yeah, but it's got to be like the 4 cars best track.
I guess that's fair, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a dumb pick, but fuck it.
I think I'm going to go with... I'm going to swing for the... I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to swing for the fences when we picked Alex Bowman and Josh Berry.
Well, I had 3 picks written down, and that was definitely the swinging for the fences of the 3.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think Toyota's they seem to be boasting their chest quite a bit about this Phoenix test, so I'm going with Ty Gibbs. Other than that, well, one quick question: these Ford and Toyota noses, do we think it changed much, or is it too early to tell? You think
it hasn't appeared to, but yeah, I don't know. Because like, weren't they pretty good on Speedway qualifying a year ago?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
like Logano won the pole for the spring Atlanta race last year. He basically did this year. Well, he was cheating this year, but still.
Yeah. Not a lot has changed. And I listened to... Did you listen to Actions Detrimental? And how they were saying that the drag numbers and downforce numbers can only be as good as the Chevy, and they can't be better because of the way they have the cars set up to be equal. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think he was saying the downforce numbers are for the Chevy and the drag numbers are the Fords, and then the Toyotas kind of hang out in the middle.
Yeah, I think I think these nose changes are, from what it sounds like, maybe blown out of proportion, but I mean, that's why we run the race. Other than that, thank you everybody for listening and watching. Remember, there are other podcasts out there. And thank you for 300 303 subscribers now.
Wow.
We've eclipsed the 300 mark after in our third full season. So I think that's a good trajectory, right? I don't know how to do this.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah. But either way, thank you guys. And go fuck yourselves. We'll see you next week.